guys.
Yeah, me, Chester, and the rest of the analysis and commentary team have been salivating over the prospect of this match, and have been fervently arguing over who's going to win. Who do you think's going to win, Chester?
You know, honestly, barring any huge pilot errors, I'm really thinking that TEST may have this one in the bag. They have the link superiority. They've got an excellent team comp with really, really high utility worms. I think it's going to be difficult for the Tuskers Beeples to be able to somehow screen off Slipneers and worms from that really, really precious backline that Scimitar and that Models. What do you think, Bob?
But Tactical Destroyers are OP, right? They're totally OP.
Yeah.
They should carry the match on their own.
Indeed, indeed. That's the one thing that I noticed about all the Tusker setups in general. They've got this dual Zweeple setup. They also have a dual Confessor setup that's very similar to this one, and I think that they are relying way, way, way too much on the T3Ds. I personally don't think that they're good tournament ships, and I don't like their chances here, but you know what? Suleiman, he, if anyone, can impress me like last month with that curse escaping in 3% hull. I'm waiting to see what he can pull out this time. Match is about to begin.
Yeah, okay, 5 minutes until, 5 seconds until the match starts, guys. 4, 3, 2, 1, and the match is underway. And we'll see what both teams do here. Test warped in at 0 with their Slipners.
So Zweeple's pulling way back away. One's going in, one's burning away. We're going to see what's going on right here. I'm not sure why that one Zweeple is burning all the way back towards their backline right now. Zweeple of Dana Walker is burning in, I guess, to their backline towards the Mauls, which I think is a really, really good play. They're already brawling on 0. It seems that the Test Slipnir, Joshua, he's running right for that Scimitar, and you know what? He is burning him down quickly.
Yeah, unfortunately, that other Slipnir has been screened by Solomon Shua and more. So that first Slipnir for Test is taking a little bit of damage now, just taking a bit of damage. Oh, that Molish took a huge chunk of damage there, instantly wrecked by the Scimitar. So Solidaris in the Slipnir for the Test side, he isn't half shield now, he's going to have to start boosting shortly. Still not, I think that Scimitar has just been caught. Yeah, the Slipnir is just
Joshua's been scrammed. The Zweeple Jaxley of Tuskers is valiantly trying to hold off the Slipnir. And you know what? It looks like the Scimitar is escaping. Scimitar is escaping. That's a huge play right there. That is a huge play. If the Test team gets strung out and cannot hold down that Scimitar, it's going to be a problem.
Why is the Slipnir not boosting? He's in low shields now. Test looks as if they're going to lose the Slipnir. That's going to be half our links gone and a significant amount of DPS. Yeah, he's got an armor now. Were these Slipnirs buffer tanked and not ASB tanked?
I hope not, because if so, that is a huge, huge, huge problem there. I noticed when I was using my ship scanner. There we go. There's the shield boost. He's finally got it. You know, his cap still looks good. He's doing well. We're gonna hopefully see if he can withstand. He should easily be able to tank a single Claymore.
Yeah, that Slipnir was just looks like. Worm Agent Hawk on Test side is taking a lot of damage, however, though. One of the Sweeples, Jaxley, is taking a bit of damage, but he's not really hard tackled at all. One of the worms for Test is gone, though. That's a huge chunk of DPS.
Yeah, no, really, really good on Dana right there. He flew in right at the beginning of the map, right towards their backline, intercepted a worm right away, and now Dana's running in for the other worm right now. If those two worms go down, this match is completely going to be in Tusker's control, because they're going to have a really, really difficult time catching that Scimitar and then dealing with those Maula stamps that Tuskers is still going to be able to utilize against them.
Yeah, excellent screening here by Tuskers using those Sweeples. It does look as if the combination of the Scimitar for reps and the Sweeples for screening and just general DPS was an excellent move here. Obviously, one of Test Slipnirs is still sitting there being screened by this Claymore. Still not a lot of damage applied to the Tuskers team. Looks as if Scimitar is keeping up. Scimitar is taking small chunks of damage.
But Flack right now on the Maul is trying so hard to keep this Zweeple off him, but you know, that Zweeple of Dana is just running him down right now, and I think that he's about to be caught very, very shortly here, and I don't think that Maulus is going to be long for this world.
Yeah, that Test Maulus is caught. He is going to do that Zweeple, whereas the first Slipnir for the Test side is taking a lot of damage. Yeah, Maulus down for the Test side. I don't think they can come back for this, Chester. What do you think?
No, I think this is over here. You know, I was really concerned at first when I saw the Tuskers bringing one Zweeple forward into the backline, one into the Test backline, and you know what? That actually was an absolutely perfect play. Those two Slipnirs brawling in at that first one was caught by the Claymore, second one was caught by Jaxley in his Zweeple, was absolutely perfect play, allowed him to screen the Scimitar, and at that point, once the screen was in place and the Jaxley's Zweeples underneath the guns of the Slipnir, I think it was over. It was well played, excellently played by Tuskers.
Yeah, I can't help but agree here. It does look as if Tuskers is going to pull out a flawless victory for the first match of the best of 5 Event Worlds Collide series here. So yeah, certainly very interesting, very high DPS brawly kind of match, and it's nice to get away from the brawl meta, don't you think, Chester?
Totally. So, and I have to sit here and I've got to really tell you, Bob, I got to eat my words because the Tuskers team took these Zeeples, really used their mobility and their defense, all this versatility that a T3D can bring to the fight, and really shows us here what a group of tournament savvy pilots can do with ships that have the ability to, switch back and forth, be able to do multiple roles at once. I think it was a great showing. Great showing.
Yeah, this is a masterclass in execution here by Tuskers. I feel, looking at both comps separately, that Test had the slightly stronger comp here, but I feel that Tuskers' execution, overrode maybe the slight advantage they had, although both comps are kind of similar. But it's nice to see the Sweeple used, and I'm excited to see it used in further tournaments in the AT later on this year.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what is going to be done with their Confessor team as well. I'm now really interested to see how that they're going to go and fly with that. This is the first match. Maybe Tess is having a little bit of nerves. Maybe just getting a little bit of the kinks of the nervousness worked out. Remember, after this match, the Tuskers are not going to be able to use this setup again, so Tess may opt to bring this double worm setup. There's this the Sleipnir, the first Sleipnir going right down now, where we're going to start working on Joshua, working on the second. But as I was saying, the Tuskers are not going to be able to bring this setup again. It's going to be interesting to see, at least in my point of view, if Tess is going to feel comfortable enough trying to run this double worm setup when it's shown that the 3D with command ship, two of which the Tuskers have, is if it's going to be a good idea or not. So it's kind of interesting going into the second match.
Yeah, I think this has definitely been a victory for logistic ship here.
Hey, wake up.
I mean, the combination of logistic ships and Sweeples just managed to keep the Tuskers team fully repped here. It was a huge risk of Tests not bringing any logistic ships to the setup, but I did feel they had enough DPS to swing the match. I'm also shocked at how much that first Test Sleipnir tanked. He tanked a lot of damage. He tanked that Claymore for almost the entire match.
Yeah, he did. Just here on the side of the match here, I just noticed Zweeple burning in on the worms, and the worms pretty easily outrunning it just with like a 1 or 2 heat cycles, whatnot. The Zweeple's going to have a better overheat, but that worm easily stayed off the Zweeple. I almost wonder if the first worm loss to Dana's really aggressive jump into the back line may have been avoidable, because it seemed to me that he was caught very quickly, and I think that once those worms start falling, the utility that the Test team has against the Tuskers really starts to fall. When we were just staring at the match before it began, I was really thinking that those worms were going to be able to get behind in the back line with heated MWDs, get the drones on that Maulus, and then once that Maulus is down on the Tuskers side, then the Maulus of Test would really be able to push that Scimitar into close range, or just push it off so it's a non-entity. Obviously that didn't happen, but it was just interesting for me to see it. It felt to me like he got caught very quickly.
Stamps and the Scimitar does tend to significantly take that ship out of play. I mean, that's a 14-point ship that's going to be countered by a 4-point ship. So E-War Superior obviously been very important.
Yeah.
That second Sleipnir dying finally for Test there, it take quite a while to die. Good fights from Tuskers and Test and local at the moment. Very good match, very good first match.
Yeah, I think it was great. I'm really excited to see where the rest of the matches are going to go, and I'm really hopeful that we're going to get hopefully a best of 5 here, because it's shaping up to be a great fight.
Still got a worm alive
you've
there.
You've had your one bye match out of the way, Test. You can bring it back for the second one. I'm confident in you.
Yeah, about that second match, though, as I was saying, it really has shown that Tuskers have practiced a lot with their double T3D and their command ship setups that they have here. And, Test is going to have to be really aware of that, and I think that they're going to hopefully take that into consideration when strategizing for what setup to bring for the next round. Because, again, even though while the double Zweeple for the Tuskers is out, they still have that double Confessor, which is basically a mirror of this, just waiting in the wings. So, if I was Test, I would definitely think very hard about what I'm bringing next.
Yeah, Test obviously have the full array of comps. Tuskers will not be able to field this comp after this match is over. Test have some interesting things in the bag. They've got a Rattlesnake comp with 2 Rattlesnakes, 2 Kestrels, and Salwar, and they also have a Widow comp, so it'll be interesting to see what Test brings next as this worm is being chased down by the Sweep.
Yeah, see, this, I have to say, Yori Rin's piloting of his worm, I'm just going to say this right now, Yori's really been pulling out really nice flying, really tactical flying, keeping off the Zweeples for a very long period of time. Obviously he's been running circles for a while now, and he's finally falling, but he was flying very well. Like I said, I think the real turning point was Dana and the Zweeple just pulling in real close into their Test backline and just getting that hard tackle down. I think that really swung it in their favor. But good fights, guys. Great fights.
Yeah, definitely. That was a great first match here from Test. Chris taking the first match of the series, and I'm going to hand it over to Bay.
Thank you very much. Sorry about the delay at the beginning there, guys. Threw me off my game a little bit. Managed to screw up the audio settings a little bit, but that was a great first match. Very, very smooth, confident victory by the Tuskers there. Yeah, so what we're doing, guys, we've got tons of stuff to give away, as I've been advertising. We've got 5 billion ISK worth of EveBet credit we're going to be giving away on the stream. You need to be in a particular channel on TQ. You need to be in the channel that is called #Eve_NT space collides. There's only 50 people in there at the moment, and I see there's 450 people on stream. I'm not giving away free stuff on stream today, unfortunately. We're going to go with the in-game channel. So log on to TQ, get in that channel. I'll ask the Dwygon to spam it for me now. Dwygon, if you could spam that channel again for me. In a few seconds, I'm going to give a question out, and you need to be in that channel, and the first 10 people in that channel to correctly answer with the correct answers to the question will win 100 million ISK EveBet credit each, and you can go away, cash that in, and maybe bet on the next match. It'll take us a while to mail out all the tokens, so maybe you won't get in time for this match. So the first question is going to be, who was the winner of AT12? Who was the winner of AT12? Very, very easy question, so 10 people should be answering very quickly. Bob, if you want to hand it over to you, and we'll just have a little chat about the teams we've got here today, maybe what they're doing on TQ at the moment, and yeah, a little bit of discussion maybe about the setups they've submitted and what possibilities we might see come out of the bag for the next match. While we move the teams into position, the teams are going to take a little break to switch into their new comps and get moved back into space.
So I'm just going to bring in the rest of our country team in this, guys. So we have Fisty McBumbasher with us here as a noted camel pilot. We also have Satonia, who does the Eva's Easy YouTube channel, and obviously got Chesser, co-commentated with myself, Bob Chef does. So Satonia, can you weigh in on that match and tell me what you thought of it?
Oh, I actually really liked Test team when they appeared on grid, and I thought that they would have the advantage initially. But what it came down to was that Test really needed to just get on that Sleipnir and kill it. And it seemed like the Test Maulers, even though the Test Alliance did have the Impa links, which give extra lock range and also stronger dams, it seemed like the Test Maulers lost the damp war there. And really good screening. One of the Sleipnirs got caught initially by Suleiman, who screened him off. And then we did see, I think it was Joshua in the Sleipnir who got tackle on. He did actually get tackle on the scimitar, and he did start taking a lot of damage. But then Jaxley and his people was able to counter tackle him, and the scimitar was able to escape. And as Chester said, the other people did a very good job catching one of the worms early on in the match, and it just went downhill for Test from there.
Yeah, totally agree with that. What do you think about the use of sweeples in EVE Tournament PvP, Fisty?
Well, sweeples were a very good call, in my opinion. The worms had tracking disruptors. The worms for Test had tracking disruptors fitted, and the tracking disruptors don't really do all that much against the Seeples because the Seeples have to be up close anyways. And the Seeples also have the Tech 2 resists, and that combined with the Scimitar reps is very, very powerful. That basically means that they're a very good screening option. And they showed that, how powerful they were. They just completely zoned out the Test team, and that's what I love seeing from the Seeples. They just completely dominated it.
Yeah, the new tech-free destroyer is very, very sick. It'll be interesting to see how they're going to be used in the Lance tournament coming this year, which has just been announced at CCP Logibro, well, last week. So Chesser, how do you feel Test can come back in this loss?
You know, looking at both of the teams, looking at what kind of setups that they have and what that they can bring, I think Test needs to be really, really worried about Tuskers' other setup, mirror setup of this, which is the Proteus, Onieros, dual Confessor with the carries. You know, that's going to bring even stronger damping, the same T3Ds, and I assume the same type of playstyle. So if you ask me, Test would be very, very foolish to bring the same double worm Sleipnir that we just saw. I think that they need to branch out into something different. Maybe something where the utility and the screening ability of the T3Ds will be useless. For example, they're heavy battleships, the rattlesnakes, the widows, something like that. Something where TEST can just kind of say, yeah, you may be fast, yeah, you may be versatile, but you know what, we're just going to have a lot of power and a lot of tank, and we're just going to step up to the plate here. Can you do it?
So Tony and Fisty, can you weigh in on that? What do you guys think TEST should field next and why?
TEST has a couple of interesting setups. They have the dual Navitas and dual Ishtar in the EOS setup. I'd kind of like to see them field that. I think it's about time that they use one of their drones, one of their setups with Logi. They only have 2 setups left with Logi. They have the 2 Navitas, Ishtar, EOS, and then the 2 Bantams, 2 Serbs, and a Widow setup. I'd like to see one of those 2 be used.
And Satonia?
Well, I'd really like to see the rattlesnakes used. One thing about TEST Alliance is they actually have 2 ECM setups. I believe they have just one with widows left, and the T3Ds have the sharpshooter mode. So confessors are able to go into the targeting mode and get extra ECCM strength. They might be very resistant to that widow.
So just to let you guys know who are watching at home, we are actually using a modified rule set from the normal Alliance tournament. So I've made a few points tweaks, and stuff like faction battleships are slightly cheaper, Navy cruisers are cheaper, and various things that maybe weren't viable during the Alliance tournament, for example, you can do in this Collides tournament, and I hope to see more interesting ships from teams in future using this rule set. What do you guys feel about the modified rules, and how do you feel they could be improved, Chesser?
I think that the modified rules add a lot of versatility to what you're going to be seeing in a fight. You can't keep using the same ships, so that leads teams needing to have a lot more depth, a lot more versatility in what they can field and how they can field. And I think it helps shake up the meta. It brings in new possibilities. Like, for example, an armor fly killer, or you're now seeing Tuskers with these double T3D setups can add something new to the tournament meta, which used to sometimes be a little stagnated with this drone heavy / marauder heavy type of compositions. And I really think that it's doing a healthy things. As far as improving goes, I'd really like to look at.
Wake up.
Of course, you can always further tweak the points, and maybe T3Ds may not have enough points on top. Maybe those would be too strong. I'm not exactly sure. I definitely have to look into that a little bit more.
I do feel that 6 points is a very good to protect 3 destroyers. I do feel that 5 would be far too cheap. Who would ever field a Harpy or a Hawk or any assault frigate at 4 points if you could have a Confessor or a Sweeple or the Hectate or the Jackdaw even for 5 points? I mean, would any of you guys field an assault frigate for 4 points of that much?
Well, with the new setup, sorry for stealing the show, but with the new setups and with the rule set is if a ship gets banned, then you can't use it anymore. So if you win a match with a Seeple, or you win a match with with a Confessor in your team, then you can't use those ships anymore. So I think it definitely increases the amount of variety that you'll have in these ships present. Yeah. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, and I like the fact that they've set it 5 instead of 4.
Yeah, I'm just chipping in. Just to chip in, I'm just putting a little spreadsheet in. If people want in the Twitch chat, if people want to click on that to see the setups, to see what options Tuskers and TEST have got left, as the commentators are talking about them. Sorry, carry on.
So let's take a bit of a closer look at the teams themselves. So we have TEST Alliance, please ignore, who are most well known for basically being they were formerly one of the big SOV holding alliances, and they basically got kicked out of Fountain, where they lived, and they moved and joined Hero Coalition, and are now taking SOV again and rebuilding themselves in Wicked Creek. Tuskers, on the other hand, are a well-known solo roaming corporation. They tends to be a loose corporation of solo pilots, I believe. What do you feel, Chesser, is more conductive to a tournament style? Do you think the solo play or the big soft play is better, generally in tournaments?
This is kind of an easy question in my personal opinion to answer. I've never been part of the big alliance like that, or doing any coalition nullsec stuff. I come from small gang, I come from solo play, and I really find myself kind of on the side of the Tuskers in this regard, because I think as a solo pilot and as a small gang pilot, you get a lot of base of experience, of module management, of the situational awareness that a good tournament pilot needs. And I think the best way to grow that is in the solo and small gang environment inside TQ. When you're playing with the large alliances and when you're playing with the big coalition Sovnal, you're going to spend a lot of your time not being able to maybe participate in those types of gameplay. You have CTAs, you have a large groups of people on TeamSpeak, and when someone says, hey, do you want to go out for a small roam, if everyone says sure, you suddenly have 20 people, 15 people in your fleet, and it's kind of mean to keep rebuking people again and again and again. You can't just say, oh no, I'm only taking 3, sorry guys, and that can create strife. So I think players that find themselves in those large entities can sometimes find it difficult, other than soloing, to really get that small gang, that communication, that flying together in a group type of environment.
Chester, I believe you're running a channel which may help with, experience in small gang PvP. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure, I can. It's something that me and Sturm, another pilot for Turn Left, Camel Empire, had talked about on the stream for the FanFest this year at 2015. And the channel in-game is called Microgang Space Help. And basically the entire idea of the channel is just to make it like a pickup basketball court. The pilots and players that are in there, I want them to feel welcomed, where, hey, if you're looking for a group of guys to kind of NPSI, 3 to 5 dudes, and you have, our website, which lists some excellent small gang fittings, and, our own TeamSpeak that you can just jump on real quick with 5 guys to go out, I really think that'll help people hopefully, get their feet wet into small gang, into solo. The chat's also frequented with some pretty big names, and the other big caveat with Microgang Help is that the big name pilots are going to, throughout the weeks, I take out a number of fleets myself, where I'll just pop in there and say, hey guys, I'm looking for 3 people, X up, and I run a quick lottery, and whoever gets the right number, they come fly in my fleet, and it's been a lot of fun. Some of my more recent PvP videos actually have clips of me flying with microgang people in my fleet, or it's a microgang fleet, and I'm highlighting it on my PvP video. So we still get really good fights, we still get great content, and I think it's been pretty successful overall for people deciding if this is something you like to do in EVE, or maybe it's just not your cup of tea.
Yeah, great stuff there, Chester. Thanks a lot. So, Tonya, you're pretty well known for solo and small gang. If you were like a brand new person, you just subbed to EVE, how would you go about, doing solo PvP or just PvP in general?
I would say a good start would be just to buy a load of cheap ships and just go out and do the best that you can. You can join, if you want to solo, you can join the channel Bringing Solo Back, which was originally a podcast by CCP Rise. And there's a lot of people in there that will help you out. There's also a channel called Small Gang PvP Piracy Help, I believe. And sorry, yeah. I think the number one thing is just to get out there and do it.
Yeah, one of the things I loved about your videos in Tonya is I believe you did a video, I think, taking a brand new pilot, and I think it was the free subscription time CCP gave us or something, and you created like an executioner pilot that could go out and kill stuff, and I think it was 20 days, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a 20-day executioner pilot. CCP, I think, for the Christmas 2014, they gave everyone 20 days free training time. So I used that 20 days free training time to just skill up an executioner character, and actually got about 14 kills on that character. Most of the kills I got were Tech 2 ships, and they were piloted by people who were playing the game for more than a year. So I was really satisfied with the results I got from that video. And skill points aren't. I think the moral of that video is that skill points aren't as a big limiting factor as people make it out to be.
Yep. That's definitely true.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw in a quick comment on that. I really like the video that you did, Satonia, and I really am glad that it has a ton of views, because I think it shows, something that a lot of small gang communities talk about a lot, which is it doesn't matter how many skill points you have, but the over transcending thing of all is, do you have experience? Are you a good player? Are you quick with your head? Do you know how to make the right decisions? Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. I really enjoyed that video. If you haven't seen it, go watch it now, even if you don't plan on flying a 20-day executioner, because it just teaches you really, really great mechanics.
Yeah, can we get a link to that in Twitch chat? That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, it's also worth pointing out that a lot of the key pilots in tournament teams are often flying ships like Maulus's and tackle figures, like we saw the Sveeples and the Worms in this fight. If you're, you can definitely skill up to fly those ships in a tournament, definitely within a few months, from scratch even.
Yeah, how hard do you feel it is for people to break into tournament play in EVE, from scratch? Chatter.
Oh, me, excuse me. As far as how hard do I think it is to break into tournament play? I think that doing smaller tournaments that may not be the quote-unquote official CCP sanctioned tournaments is actually really possible. I think that the best way to learn how to do something well is to keep practicing it. And the only way to get tournament experience is to in for tournaments. And you may lose, and you know what? That's okay. The big overarching kind of concept is, do you want to improve? Because you improve way more from studying footage of you losing or studying footage of other tournaments than you do just not doing it at all, or in saying something, a cop out like, oh well, I don't have all level 5 skills, ergo there's no way I could ever fly in a tournament. I think that's not the right way to think.
Fisty, I believe you've never participated in any Alliance tournaments or anything. What's your views on tournament PvP and how it can be improved, or your experiences, because you're going forward with Camel this year, aren't you?
Actually, no, I'm not going forward. I'm going to be going for field work into Germany. Into Greenland. So I'm not going to be able to participate in the Camel team this year. But one thing I'd love to see is it improved. I don't know, it's really difficult to watch the games because you never really know exactly what's happening. I'm sitting here at 0 at the beacon, so I can lock up everyone. I can see their distance from the middle of the arena, and I can see their velocity and stuff. But it's really hard to see that on a stream. And so I kind of feel bad for the people that are watching the stream right now, because I get the bird's eye view, and it's a lot more fun for me than it is for you, I guess. So that's one thing I'd love to see improved. I really like the fact that after the matches you can go in and see where on some of the websites you can go in and see where all the ships moved, and you can see it, get a nice 3D view of it. And I think that's some really good stuff that could be done with the API keys and all that information.
Yeah, I love the nullsetcom website. I don't actually know who runs it, but they have a 3D visualization of exactly what happened in a match, that you can click on any time from that website from any of the last 2 Alliance tournament matches. So a really, really cool resource. What do you guys think about tournament viewability in general? I know Fisty had some negative things to say about it there. How do you guys feel that tournament viewability could be improved, Saltonia?
Well, I think it's quite difficult because there isn't really an in-game replay option.
So do you think PCP might need to code one, or do you think players can do it in some way? How would you change the presentation, and how would you change the viewing of a tournament in EVE to make it look better?
I think more relevant stats being showcased, like capacitor and stuff like ancillary charges left and things like that, which are really key to the match that you can't actually see when you're viewing the match. Yeah,
I can agree with that. Fisty, people sometimes complain that when you're watching an EVE tournament match, they're just looking at bars. What do you feel about that?
Well, I was at FanFest watching the Worlds Collide tournament, right? That was one of the biggest events to ever happen in EVE. So it was for those of you guys that don't know what it was the Chinese server against Tranquility. And our guys used a whole lot of time practicing up for it, multiple hours each night, practicing to just stomp on the Chinese team. And it didn't go exactly as planned. We got destroyed in one of the matches, and so we lost our confidence pretty quickly. And we were at the front row watching this, and It was really exciting for us sitting there because we knew what was happening, because we knew all the fits that our team was using. We knew what everyone else was using, but we couldn't see what was going on the main screen. It was just literally, as you said, Bob, just bars everywhere, and we got to watch one ship just go in circles for about 5 minutes while nobody really knew what was going on. So that's how I feel about that.
Cool.
Chester, say you were. Oh, go ahead, Bay.
Well, it looks like we're nearly ready, so I figured we'd stop waffling and show some internet spaceships.
Very sexy comps in the field so far.
Yeah,
We'll hand over to the commentators of the match.
Very cool. So commentating for this one will be Fisty and myself. I'm just looking up the teams now. If we could start the 1 minute countdown in local NOS, and everyone should be able to see what the teams have brought. So we have Widow, 2 Bantams, and 2 Cerberuses. I think this is going to be really fun to watch this match. I don't know about you, Fisty.
I'm really actually excited about this. I think the Cerberuses have some really good anti-tackle capabilities if their rapid light missile launcher fit. And the Widow has some very nice ECM possibilities, so it'll be fun to see what they decide to do.
Yep. Sorry, I'm just okay. Right, my full attention now. So there's lots of things going on in the background. So I think I'm really interested to see what jammers that Widow's got fit, and whether or not they took a guess at what the Tuskers might be flying next and fit jammers appropriately, or whether they've gone for multi-specs, or it'll be interesting to see how effective that Widow is, because he's got 5 targets to lock. I'm guessing he's got no more than 5 jammers at most on there. So
it's important to note that the test started all at range, while the Tuskers started a little bit spread out. So the test started all at maximum range.
Yep.
And so we have effects flying up now.
Yeah, the match is underway. It looks like Confessors are going in. The whole Tuskers team is moving towards test. Except for carriers, which is hanging back. I see missiles flying from the Serb.
Yeah, the Cerberuses have moved in to pull range. It looks like they're attempting to screen the Tuskers team now.
Yeah, there's not.
We haven't had that much damage go on the field yet.
Yeah, exactly what I was about to say.
And it looks like the Serbs are rapid light missile launcher fit. But they're barely scratching anything so far.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, you're going to put rapid lights on them. I think the Widow can actually kick up about 800 DPS with Rage, with its, I'm assuming it's cruise missiles. Could be torpedoes, but unlikely. So those...
Oh, one of the Widow MJD towards the carries, and then one of the Serbs is going off to shut off the carries from the rest of the team, and the carries is starting to enter armor now, and he looks like he's getting pounded on very hard by that by the Cerberus of Yori. Yori did a wonderful play there, but the carries is burning back in towards the Onira, so he might be safe because there's no scram effects on the carries right now.
Yeah, Latronicus has got his back. He's got reps on the carriers now. He's tanking just fine. There's split damage to going interestingly here, though. The Confessor of Tebel is still taking some damage as well as the carries. So I'm thinking maybe TEST need to focus their DPS a little bit. As I say that, the Cerberus of Red, he's taking quite a hammering. Obviously, they've got 2 Bantams, which...
Yeah, the Cerberus of Red is scrammed right now, and it looks like the Bantams are working hard to keep him up.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I'm worried about right now is that the test team does not have enough DPS to be able to break... Oh, the Bantam
Whoa, deleted.
Yes, deleted extremely. That gives a definite advantage to the Tuskers now that the test lost one of their Bantams, and it looks like the Confessors are burning in towards the next Bantam of Kree to start putting DPS on him, because there are going to be no reps coming in towards him.
Yeah, indeed. Got Battle Dog in the Confessor there, sitting right on top of that Bantam, blazing into him. The other Confessor's landing on him too now. He's going to be... Yeah, there he goes, straight away. Boom. And the Cerberus again taking damage.
Yeah, the Cerberus is taking damage. They have the rapid light missile launchers fit, and if they haven't been able to take anything out now, then I really doubt they're going to be able to take anything out in this game.
Yeah. Having said that, Latronicus in the And Neros is starting to take a little bit of damage now. I'm wondering if maybe Test should have gone for him straight away rather than worrying too much about the carries and stuff. Latro's taking a little bit of damage now.
Yeah, the Oneris is active reps fit, so he's not too worried about this. It looks like a very similar fit that the Camel Empire used in the Worlds Collide tournament. It's a very solid fit, very solid solo Oneros fit. So he's not too worried about it.
No, not at all.
And he also has the effects of the reactive armor hardener, so he's going to be, fixing that kinetic hole. And he also has an innate, kinetic resist. So this that Cerberus is not going to be doing any damage, nor the Widow.
Yep.
I think that Tuskers have swept the field once again.
Yeah, I was touching you at the beginning. I mean, Tuskers took a while to apply their damage, so I'm guessing those Widow jams were effective at the beginning of the match. But now it's just going to slow their death. It's not going to tip the balance at all. Having those ECM jammers. Solomon in the Proteus there, just wandering around. He's going fairly quickly. I'm just wondering. I haven't seen him on top of people, so I'm guessing he's a drone fit ship. I haven't had a chance to zoom in there and have a good look at him. Or is that Rails? Can you tell me? One of the other commentators can chip in. Yeah. So
the Proteus isn't.
He's blaster fit.
He's blaster fit.
Yeah, the Proteus isn't very important in this match. Yeah, Neutron's not very important in this match. The Confessors and the Oneris and the carries saved the day.
Yeah.
The Tuskers was just a little bit. The Proteus was just a little bit of extra DPS when needed, but he wasn't very important in taking down the two Bantams there.
Those blasters are being applied right to the face of the Widow now. Suicide's taking a ton of damage. I expected an ASB. I haven't seen any boosts yet, so maybe it's a big buffer instead.
The Widow's armor fit.
Oh, his armor's fit. Forgive me. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, he's only got his a little shield damage then so far. Guessing he's just got another jam off on the Proteus. Damage to the shields has completely stopped. The Cerberus is dying now. I really hope Test can pull something amazing out of the bag here. Maybe suddenly permajam all of the Tuskers for the rest of the match.
If they're going to be able to pull something off, they're going to be able to kill this carries. But the carries is able to tank the rapid light missile launchers from the last remaining Serb.
He's ruining their day.
It's looking pretty dire for Test right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Widow just entering armor now. Those blasters slowly chewing through him. And the Cerberus, who has been boosting, so I'm guessing he's got an ASB as well. He's been boosting for a while now. You get 9 charges in an ASB. I haven't been keeping count, but it looks like he's going to be dying fairly swiftly.
He's tackled by the Confessors, so he's going to go down in short order.
Confessors are beautiful. They apply their damage so well. Even with beams, they track brilliantly, and he'll be taking full punishment from them. No questions.
Beams are the only way to fit a Confessor, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
If you're not fitting beams on a Confessor, you're doing it wrong. You need to take advantage of that optimal range bonus.
Yeah, true. With Scorch you get, was it 40, 50k? Yeah, it's really, really nice. For a ship of its size. The tracking. Oh, there goes the Cerberus. Boom. So it's just the Widow left now, and all of the Tuskers are going to pile on top of him. So this will be 2-0 to Tuskers. I really hope Test pull back a match, because it would be a damn shame for the teams to go all the effort of forming up and then it just be a straight 3-0 victory. I kind of like. I honestly thought Test would do quite well. They did really well in AT12, and I was expecting the same sort of performance here.
Test is a good team. Their fits are solid. Their application of these fits and their flying is not bad. They're not flying outside of the arena. They're not making any glaring mistakes.
No, yeah.
It's just the fact that the Tuskers are just a little bit better pilots. From what I've seen so far in the first 2 matches, the Tuskers have just been demolishing them. They've tied down Test doggy style and just been having their way with them.
Yeah.
And it's a beauty to watch. Sitting here at the Beacon at 0, it's a beauty to watch.
Yeah, I think as well. I think the Tuskers have gone for fairly safe comps that are kind of, pretty logistics, 2-3 DPS, and an E-War. It's kind of like a fairly standard sort of what you'd expect. I think Test have been a little bit more creative with their setups, in an attempt to make something, just to try out different new things, which is really cool. Sometimes things don't work, sometimes they do. Yeah. everything now part
But
of
they're
it.
paying for it now, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think maybe they should have gone on some little more standard, and maybe they'll bring something a little bit more standard next time. Brit is slowly making his way over to the Widow now, who is 100 kilometers from the beacon. He's still going to be jamming them to irritate the hell out of them. He's not going down without a fight. There's 2 minutes remaining on the clock. We know which way this is going to end.
Yeah. If the Tuskers don't even need to get this Widow down, they win on points. So
Yep.
now it's just a formality. It's just kind of rubbing salt in the wound. Just basically be like, hey guys, we stomped on your face. Let's kill at your Widow now for bringing jams. We saved your jamming boat for last, and now we're just gonna stomp on its skull, just to throw, just to celebrate our victory.
Yeah, I'll mention while we're just chatting over this widow dying, the answer to the question I asked at the beginning of the first break was who is the winner of Alliance Tournament 12. Very, very easy question. We got 10 people X up straight away. The answer was the Camel Empire. That's their alliance name. I often make the mistake of calling them Turn Left, but it's not just Turn Left in that alliance anymore. And the Widow's about to pop. Boom, there we go.
And the Widow's down. That was game 2 for Tuskers. Good job, Tuskers.
Yeah, brilliant. So the next match will be starting in about 20 minutes. CCP Logic is going to move these teams back to their station where they can reship, and I will ask another question. So just to recap again, guys, if you want to win some EveBet credit right now, you need to be in the channel hashtag Eve_NT on Tranquility, not on CC. Someone made the mistake. They asked me just now. They logged onto CC especially. No, I'm running this competition on TQ. And the next question we have is, how many points was a command ship in Alliance Tournament 12? So in the last Alliance Tournament, and in most tournaments recently, how many points is a command ship worth? So answers in Eve NT Collides channel now, and you might win yourself 100 million ISK EveBet credit, which Pesh is going to be Eve mailing out. So check your mail. If you get any mail from a strange Scottish person called Pesh, you may have won some money. There's a lot of incorrect answers I see coming into the channel, which is quite interesting. So don't just copy the guy who posted first. I think we've got enough correct answers now. But keep going until we've got 10. Alright, Bob, do you want to go over what just happened right there?
Yeah, so definitely another masterclass there by Tuskers, using those tech destroyers to their full potential and then mode switching. Tech-free destroyer is very squishy and require a lot of execution and a lot of practice to use, but again, Tuskers executing absolutely brilliantly there. So that's both of Tuskers' tech-free destroyer spans as they go 2-0 up in the series. It'll be interesting to see what they got next. What did you make of that match, Tony?
Well, I think this was probably the worst setup the test could have come into, because the Proteus also had the ECCM subsystem, which means that it's really hard to jam. They also had a Keris, which is one of the biggest counters to ECM in the tournament, because it has such a high sensor strength itself, and damps just completely take ECM ships out of the fight. And
Yeah,
then we
definitely.
also have the Confessors too, which have, as we mentioned before, the Sharpshooter mode, which gives them, which doubles their ECCM strength. So I think what happened was the Keris just completely shut down the Widow, and anytime the Widow was able to fire off any jams, they weren't as effective as they could have been.
Yeah, exactly. Center strength on the Confessors and across the whole Tuskers team, definitely very strong, definitely very hard to jam. I also think the fact that Serbs are S towards kinetic damage was a huge factor as well. That Proteus is obviously very hard to kill, and very hard to kill the Aneros as well. What do you think about that, Chesser?
Honestly, I was absolutely appalled at what happened at the beginning of the match. You basically saw the entire Tusker team burning in from range, everyone just burning over to the entire test team, okay? During that time, you have a Confessor that has an MWD Sigbloom on, and you have 2 RLML ships. And I didn't see any damage being applied at all. Now, I can imagine that it's being a 4 damp carries, a single dampener, non-heated on Cerberus is going to put it down, a little ways. Hacks have a long distance lock range with Caldari bonus, so it's going to have about 56k targeting. Even considering that, there was just no damage coming on the Confessors when they were at their weakest, which is burning into the fight. Those Cerberus should have been burning away, not burning at them. I don't understand that fight at all. The last thing that really surprised me is the willingness for TEST to commit with their Cerberuses and their Bantams. Those Bantams will be two-shot by those Confessors the second they get close to them, and it just blew me away that actually happened. The one Confessor should have been lost, I think, an initial burn-in. I think it was a great play that the Widow had the MJD, but Widow's base lock range is 90k, and when you're on the field with with a carries, and you have no damps of your own, making the decision to actually go damp yourself by MJDing 100k away from the fight when you actually could be useful, providing the jams, providing the DPS at 0 was an extremely interesting decision. I think it was a very poor one. I think TEST completely misplayed this.
Yeah, I have to tend to agree there. I think that the Widow MJDing, near the start of the match when the Tuskers team got close was a bit of a rookie mistake. Jams fall off, not really being all that effective.
And Widow does not have the optimal range bonus, as does the Scorpion and the Blackbird.
Yeah, definitely. If that Widow hadn't, been able to lock stuff at all from that range, the Jams would have been deep fall off and not necessarily very, very effective on that. So that's both of Tuskers' Tech Free Destroyer comps, banned for the next match. What does TEST need to do to pull this out, and what's Tuskers going to bring next, Suetonia?
Well, I'm not sure what Tuskers are going to bring next. They have just 3 setups left, of course. They can either bring an EOS setup with Vex and Navy issues and Excure and a Malediction, or they can bring a Absolution setup with Augura, 2 Heretics and Sacrilege, or they can bring an Astarte setup. So I think Tuskers have a lot more brawling comps left, unless the EOS and the Vex and Navy issues are more kitey. I don't know. So I don't know I don't know what to do if I was TEST. I'd probably bring. I'd say the strongest setup is probably the Rattlesnake comp maybe, or the EOS and 2 Ishtar comp.
Okay, what do you think, Fisty?
If I were the Tuskers, I'd probably bring in their EOS and Vexor Navy issue comp, which is an EOS, 2 Vexor Navy issues, an Excure, and a Malediction. That just seems like the safest one for me for whatever TEST has in mind, mostly because bringing logistics has worked out quite well for them so far, and none of the TEST really have logistics. They have one with 2 Navitas, 2 Ishtars, and an EOS. And I think that the Vexor Navy issues could beat that because they'd have a lot more DPS. Actually, they wouldn't even have much more DPS. They'd have a lot more reps than that one.
Yeah, drone comp's certainly very interesting in this format. For those of you who don't know, you can only use Tech 1 drones in this kind of format due to the strength of drone comps in like the last 3 tournaments. Like the previous and the last 2 Alliance tournaments were very drone heavy. We've tried to reduce that slightly by basically saying teams can only bring Tech 1 drones. But enough about the teams. We have a very special guest with us here today, helping out and moving the teams and doing general logistics for us. CCP Logibro, how are you doing, mates?
I'm doing all right. Yourselves?
Fantastic. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing in CCP? And I've also heard you have a new job.
Well, I don't really have a new job. It's kind of just more my roles are a little bit different in exactly the same job, but I'm a community representative, which means I work on the community team, which means that I have to spend my days dealing with the lovely players such as yourselves and basically driving any of the sort of stuff that you do, highlighting it for people, helping out with player events, such as what CCP Guard does, our grand overlord of all the events. Also run the tournament, we run the ISD program. I think that's about it off the top of my head.
So last week you announced Tournament 13. Can you tell us a little bit more about your plans for that?
Well, there's some of the stuff that I don't want to talk about yet that will be coming out with the rules, which will hopefully be coming out soon enough. But there's one thing I can talk about at the moment, which is that we are moving from 4 weekends to 3 weekends.
Okay, so how is that going to change the tournament?
Sorry, can you say that again?
So how is that going to change the tournament and go over 3 weekends instead of 4 weekends?
So for one, it's probably going to make it a lot easier. I've already had a couple of people mention this, but it's going to be easier for teams to actually get pilots. In the past, for the last 2 at least tournaments, I can't remember past that off the top of my head, we had 4 weekends where you had to basically commit And for some people, 4 weekends in a row is quite a lot, and that would prevent them from being able to participate in the tournament. But with only 3 weekends, you get a lot more people who are able to commit that space of time instead. So hopefully that opens the tournament as an option for a lot of people.
Cool. I'm super excited about it myself. Hopefully I'll be captaining my team. Yeah. So you're not streaming the first two weekends at all?
We're not streaming the first weekend, which will consist of the matches that were previously on the first 2 weekends of the Alliance tournament.
Cool. Cool. Any
Will players be able to stream those?
Sorry, you were saying?
Will players be able to stream the first weekend, or is there any chance for the players to
Any
put up...
player that's in a match, more than welcome to stream any match that they're in. We've got no problem with that. But due to the fact that we don't really want to have players not actually in the match on the field during a match, we're not going to let any players in. However, the Crest feed will be working for systems at once. So you'll be able to see all of the stuff with, I think it's a minute delay from Crest. And we've got some other stuff, but I can't talk about it yet, so stay tuned.
So if the stuff is going to be on Crest, then it's going to be on the nullsec.com website, right?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Cool.
I've got the nullsec.com website being a great resource for all tournament
that's
stuff.
amazing. I love that guy, who I do actually know who is, but I'm keeping his identity secret.
You can't do that. Everyone wants to know. No one's telling us.
I just did.
Yeah, no one knows who it is. Witcher's a dev. It has to be a dev.
I'm sorry, but I cannot confirm
It's a
or deny.
It's still a dev, yeah.
I cannot confirm or deny who actually runs null-sec.com. I would like to just say that they're amazing.
They are amazing. Can you give us a little hint? I guess it's probably a really long shot now. Could you give us a little hint about what sort of prize ships might be this year? Are you going with the same sort of one cruiser, one frigate format, or is that pushing you a little bit too much?
Yes, it will be one cruiser, one frigate. Still planning to have a battleship skin as we had in last year. That turned out to be very popular, so we're bringing that back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely.
Please, Galente, please Serpentis, please Vindicator Victory Edition.
That would be nice.
Well, you'll just have to find out soon enough.
The new shaders are on Sissy at the moment. The Vindicator is now back to its sexy blackness. Love that ship.
That is cool.
And just have a Victory Edition, it would just be fantastic.
That's a nice suggestion. I like that suggestion. I do like the Vindicator. It's one of my favourite ships. Cool. Well, thanks.
So, can you maybe tell us about any rule changes or anything that's going on this year, or you're sealed about that stuff?
Lips are sealed at the moment, but CCP Fozzie, who is the main man with the rules, is I'm sure he'll have fun with those.
Cool. We'll let you get back to moving teams and stuff then. Thank you very much for coming on the show and helping us out doing this. Obviously,
not a problem. Happy to come on. I'm really happy to see you guys running this, and I'm more than happy to help.
Cool.
Yeah, we're of course not the only player-based tournament running today. There has been a Russian tournament running all weekend, actually. I think it might be over by now, unfortunately. I believe Lucy Liu or iBeast was running a 5 versus 5 tournament for Russians. And have any of you guys been watching that? Chesser, Sotonia?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. It's just difficult for me because I don't understand Russian at all, but iBeast does have a super voice, and I fly with Lucy fairly frequently, so it was nice to see him doing something like that. But it looked really, really well done, and there were some excellent matches there. If you haven't checked it out, or if you're bored, definitely go on YouTube and look for something.
Yeah, I watched a little bit yesterday. It was pretty cool. I think the more player-run tournaments, the better. I think the more people take part in tournament scene, means that we'll get hopefully better and better quality as we go along, player run stuff. I won a Billionisk yesterday because Nash thought that Scorpion Navy issues have been slept near, so I'm a big fan of that tournament already.
So, Bay, this tournament is basically your brainchild. Can you tell us a little bit about the running of the tournament? How did you decide to start doing this and evolve into what it is today?
I decided I thought it'd be a lot easier than it is, turns out. So the idea is I took part in SCL, Syndicate Competitive League, if anyone remembers that. I think it finished, must have been about a year and a half ago now. They did 5 episodes, which were like weekend long kind of mini tournaments, which were great fun, and that was a player run institution. I'd kind of been crossing my fingers hoping that would come back, but unfortunately due to the turnover of staff there, they couldn't carry it on, so they've tried they've decided to knock it on the head for now. So I'm just trying to fill the void really, and I really enjoyed CCP's event. The Worlds Collide thing that CCP Gargant set up. So I figured I'd just steal that format and run with it really. So it's going to be best of 5 matchups using those rules. We might tweak the rules a little bit as we go along to suit feedback from the competitors. Probably with the points of the ships, because it's fun to, as obviously ships get rebalanced on CC, we kind of make adjustments for that a little bit in the points, and it'll be a winner stays on. So whichever wins out of this whichever team wins out of this matchup will be challenged by another team shortly, hopefully.
What do teams need to do if they want to participate?
They need to simply just drop me a mail. I'm bay.rj@gmail.com. You can mail me there or mail me in game if you're interested in taking part. Ideally, I'm looking for established tournament teams at the moment. But if you are a new corp or alliance who's interested in taking part, by all means email me. The more people I have available, the better show we can put on, basically. Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed down in the future there'll be more and more player tournaments open up, and I think it'd be awesome if there was more kind of amateur league. Hopefully that's something that will happen at some point.
So when is the next event you like to say?
So we're going to do it first Sunday of every month. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the teams to warm in for the next match. So it's first end of every month we're going to aim for. We might have a little bit of break over the Alliance tournament season, so I think we're probably unlikely to do one in August and September, because most Alliance teams will be super busy preparing for that. It's the first Sunday every month. That's what we're aiming to do. So.
Excellent stuff. Well, we also have Nash Cadaver on comms with us here. Are you available to talk, Nash?
Yep, sure.
Fantastic. So, obviously, this event is called EVNT Collides, but it does get its name from the EVNT event that you run, which is a physical event. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So this September we'll be having the third EVNT, which is going to be on the 19th of September. We have increased the amount of tickets that are available, as somebody seemed to think it was a good idea that we squeeze even more people in. And half the tickets have already gone, so I'm expecting to sell out. So if you haven't got a ticket yet, make sure you get it soon. Yeah, one thing I think that's important not to forget is that although we're doing the EVNT Collides on a monthly basis, yourself and Bay will also be running a live tournament at EVNT itself in September, where we have, hopefully, I'm still working on exactly what it's going to be, but a shit ton of prizes like we did last time. So anything from sexy keyboards, mice, beer, Plex, all sorts of stuff. There's lots of stuff to give away there as well, so make sure to check that out.
Great stuff. Obviously, I'll be in attendance along with... I do believe we're getting close to the third match of EVNT Collides, though, eh?
Yeah, we absolutely are. I'm just locking up the targets now. So Bob and Fisty, you're going to commentate this one. So I think we are ready to go. If we could start the countdown in local. And Bob, I'm handing over to you.
Very interesting. So, TEST have brought the Rattlesnake comp. Very, very excited. Rattlesnakes have worked on a max range. They also have a Kestrel tower and another Kestrel for support on the test side. Two very heavily tanked ships, but drone battleships. We'll see if that Tech 1 drone nerf hurt them. What have Tuskers bought, Fisty?
So the Tuskers have brought 2 heretics, an augur, a sacrilege, and an absolution.
Microphone muted.
Pure Amar victory, which I kind of like. I'm really gonna like this one. The heretics are basically going to be functioning as anti-tackle. They're going to be having light missile launchers fit. The augur is of course going to be reps, and the sacrilege is going to be going in and tanking and scramming and locking targets down. The absolution will most likely also be providing links to give the heretics, the augur, and the sacrilege a bigger tank, and possibly also skirmish, so longer point range. The match is going to be beginning in 5 seconds. Bob, would you like to do the countdown?
Yep, 3, 2, 1, go, go, go. Both teams did warp in it pretty far away from each other here, so it'll be interesting to see what the opening moves are.
The Tusker heretics are starting to already. They're really, really quick, and they're burning directly towards it. I think they're going to go directly for those kestrels, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I'm seeing damp effects from those heretics. It looks as if those rattlesnakes are being damped. Looks like kestrels are counter-damping though. Many damp going on at the moment. Missiles being fired from those heretics. With no logistics on the test team, I don't think that tower and those two kestrels are going to live very long, sadly.
Yeah, that tower is going to be going down really quickly, and if Test gets their support taken care of, like their support removed from grid, then they're going to be in a little bit of trouble because those rattlesnakes need a little bit of help. If those rattlesnakes do not have support, then they're not going to be able to effectively apply their DPS, and the Tuskers can just kite.
Yeah, first tower down, as I said, no logistics on the test team, so that support's not going to live very long with two heretics on the field. The two rattlesnakes did MJD towards the past the Tuskers team. Yeah, that first kestrel, going down. Heretics taking shield damage at the moment, but I'm not seeing a lot of damage being applied from these rattlesnakes in the Tuskers team at the moment. Although it does look like they are trying to primary the augur at the moment.
Yeah, but they're drones. That drone travel time is just really hurting these rattlesnakes. And the augur is just they're finally on the augur right now. Let's see how he tanks.
Yeah, it looks like the last support ship going down for tests. Now it's just two rattlesnakes versus two heretics on augur and absolution and sacrilege. It'd be interesting to see if Tuskers can take down these two most likely heavily tanked rattlesnakes. Augur is taking a lot of damage though.
The augur is still only in about 70% armor, 75% armor remaining, so I think he will be able to pull range from the drones. And am I seeing that correctly? It looks like the Absolution is attacking the drones, so the Absolution is running interference and killing these drones to try and ease off the DPS on this augur.
Yeah, Tuskers are definitely in the driving seat at the moment. All they do need to do is stay away from those rattlesnakes and just tank the damage. We'll take this series. It looks as if without a single ship lost, perhaps. What do you think
Yeah,
about that,
it looks like Tuskers are using all of their DPS, putting it on those rattlesnake drones. They're going for the long game. They're going to win this by points. They're not going to go for a clean sweep. It does not appear like. But I think that's perfectly fine. The Tuskers have just basically out-comped Test in this tournament. So I think it's good job, Tuskers. I mean, I don't want to speak too soon, but actually I am speaking too soon. I think Tuskers are going to win this. But I've been a fan from them the entire time.
Yeah, very poor performance from Test, sadly. It doesn't look as if they've done very well in this series at all. Augur is taking a small amount of damage, but it does look as if he has a local rep. I'm not sure. If the Augur does die in this match, though, that's the only way this match can swing. I believe that would give them almost enough points to basically win on points, basically. Augur is taking a lot of damage. It might be possible. Maybe it's just bait tanking half armor.
There's only one berserker left on him though. There's only one berserker left, and their Tuskers are clearing drones. So the augur is active tank. So I think augur has this.
We'll see. Hopefully those.
It looks like they're playing damage on the Absolution now. Their rattlesnakes are putting some missiles onto the Absolution. Let's see if he actually starts taking damage.
Yeah, it does look as if those rattlesnakes are heavily damped out, so they are probably just shooting the Absolution just out of the fact that it's one of the only things they can lock. Yeah, the augur taking absolutely no damage now. Absolution slowly taking chunks of armor damage. I can't imagine the augur can't deal with that level of damage though. We shall see how it goes though.
For everyone at home, these rattlesnakes are rapid heavy missile launcher fit, so they should be hitting this Absolution pretty effectively with their rapid heavies.
Yeah, and as you can see, taking a lot of damage, surprising amount of damage. I wouldn't have expected to get this low in armor.
Yeah, and but the rattlesnakes are throwing warriors out. What?
Yeah, warriors not bonus than a rattlesnake call. Very interesting choice by Test there.
Okay, so there's one set of ogres, so 2 ogres and 5 warriors. That's an interesting drone setup from the rattlesnakes. They should have plenty more heavies. I've only seen 2 sets of heavies getting taken out.
Yeah, I would have expected that the Test rattlesnakes to have sentry drones. I'm not really sure what's going on in Test here. With sentry drones, they could still apply damage even if Tuskers did decide to shoot all the drones. The Absolution is getting fairly close, but the augur is keeping them pretty conclusively wrapped up. Damp's obviously screening the rattlesnakes from hitting the back line of the Tuskers.
Tuskers also have some ECM drones out on the rattlesnake. One set of ECMs on Soldarius, and the other one is just normal drones.
Yeah, it looks like that Absolution is edging forward and starting to have damage to the first Rattlesnake of the test team. It is in 78% shield, so still not a lot of damage applied. It does look as if he is repping though.
Yeah, but I think Tuskers are just gonna take this one out on time. There's no rush for them. Like the Sacrilege, it's a ham sack, and it's just sitting down there, just taking out drones. So I think they're doing this one definitely for the long haul. They want to win on points. They're not going to take any chances right now, and neither should they.
Yeah, I have to agree. It looks as if Test has been consistently outplayed and out executed in this series. Do you feel there's anything Test could have done differently, maybe edge this match out?
I don't really think so, to be quite honest. So let's look at what Test brought. Test brought the 2 Rattlesnakes, a Tower, and 2 Kestrels, while the Tuskers brought an Absolution, a Sacrilege, 2 Heretics, and an Augur. So already the Tuskers have an advantage because they have an Augur, and we've seen already how important that Augur has been. It's brought the Absolution back from life, and it's kept itself up. So the Augur was basically the target for Test. If Test isn't able to take care of the Augur, then they lose, and they weren't able to take care of it. So they kind of forced Test's hand by bringing a logistic ship. And if you look at the support, Test brought a Tower and 2 Kestrels. And if you compare a Tower and 2 Kestrels to 2 Heretics, so Heretics are Tech 2 destroyers, also bonus for light missile launchers. The Heretics just stomp all over the Tower and the Kestrels. So the support war was won by Tuskers most definitely and easily. And without support, as I said earlier, then the Rattlesnakes are just sitting ducks, as we see right now. And they're not able to effectively apply their damage to anything, and their drones are easily able to be kited and just disposed of quickly.
Yeah,
so,
and in any format, the Heretics and Logistics Ship is definitely a very strong support wing. Those Heretics can field EOR options as well as, just devastating enemy support ships with light missile launchers at massive ranges. Agent Hot's Rattlesnake is getting slowly chipped through shield at the moment. The Sacrilege and the Absol are moved into damage range now. Both the Rattlesnakes are shooting at one of the Test Heretics, but he's being conclusively ripped up by the Augur. Saying that, he just took a huge chunk of damage there. I think that Heretic's getting out of rep range. No, he's just brought back in. He's in half armor though, and fully ripped up by that Augur now.
Yeah, those Warriors, despite being Tech 1, they still hurt. They still hurt a bit.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how much damage that Heretic was taking. Maybe the logistic ship was just baiting. 2 minutes left of the match. All that really remains from the rest of this match now is, will Test lose a Rattlesnake? What do you think, Fisty?
I think that it doesn't really matter if they lose a Rattlesnake or not. I'd like to see Test lose this Rattlesnake, though. I want to see Tuskers get this victory. Just, stab the knife further into the wound and twist it around a little bit. That's how I like seeing my victories.
Yeah, saying that both Rattlesnakes did just MJD away from the Absolution and the Sacrilege. So it looks as if that first Rattlesnake of Agent Hawk will live just a little bit longer.
Yeah, he's already repping. He's definitely active repping, and he's already down to about 15% shield.
Yeah, those Heretics going in, applying a little bit. Which he has regened quite a lot of shield at the moment, though. Still not really much appreciable damage being put on the Tuskers at the moment. Does look as if the Heretic T-Bolt is being chipped away a little bit, but I can't see any reason why the Augur couldn't conclusively keep him ripped up as we come into 1 minute remaining on the map. So yeah, it doesn't look like that Rattlesnake is going to die. It does look as if that it is going to stay as is, and Tests are going to keep the Rattlesnakes. This does show the power of having a more evened out comp, as opposed to investing a lot of your points in 2 big battleships and having a weak support wing. What do you think about that, Fisty?
I think that the battleships are still very valuable picks. They just need a very strong support wing. And in these small tournaments where you only have a certain amount of points, then in a lot of cases they are not the best option to bring, especially if they're faction battleships.
So Test is offering 5 billion to Boundary here and give Tuskers a match, not like they need it. 5 seconds remaining. Tuskers conclusively win. Not lost a ship this whole series. Test loses 3-0.
It's a bit of a shame.
Very clean sweep. Very good match.
Yeah, honestly, I thought Test would be able to take at least 1 or 2 matches here, if not win the series. So a bit of a surprise for me. Thank you very much for both teams taking part. Obviously, it's been brilliant. Before we have our guest here, Blue Ice has been very quiet. Unfortunately, we haven't had as much time to chat as I'd hoped. If we have a little chat with Blue Ice in a second, I'm just going to read out. So the answer to the last question I asked was 16, and the question was how many points was a Command Ship Alliance tournament? 12, and all the posters, they have had 10 winners who should have been sent their credit by now, which is cool. I just realised I haven't got a slide for it's finishing now. so it says next March starting soon, which is a lie. So I've got a lot of EveBet credit to give away still. I kind of hoped that we'd give away a billion ISK between each match, but since we've only had 3 matches, we've still got 2.5 billion ISK to give away. I did run a competition a few days ago to see who could guess the bands that both teams submitted, and I got Joffrey won that, and he won half a billion ISK. So next time I'll run a competition of similar nature before the next show, so keep an eye out for that if you want to win some ISK by doing a little bit of theory crafting. So I'm going to ask a question now. 25 people will win 100 million ISK EVE credits. So 25 people. It's a little bit more challenging, so maybe you have to do a little bit of Googling. Pesh is ready to copy and paste names of the winners. So the question is, who was the host of Alliance Tournament 10? Who was the host of Alliance Tournament 10? First 25 people to get the right answer in chat will get a token mailed to them. And we're going to have a little bit of chat with Blue Ice now to find out who he is and what he does. And then I'll ask one more question at the end of the show to give away the 8 Tristan Quaif edition skins that CCP have kindly donated to us. So, Blue Ice, who are you?
Hey, I'm Blue Ice. I'm from Brave. I currently am Mildeer and long-time FC. And
cool.
In game, that's what I do. I do fleets. I kill people and have fun.
Yeah. Well, the first question I've got for you. I've heard of Brave Nevies, obviously, fairly big alliance. You didn't enter Alliance tournament last year, but I believe you're planning to this year. Is that correct?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, yeah. So what happened last year was basically our executor didn't pass over. Our previous exec didn't pass over the leadership to the guy who took over him, Lichten. So the other guy, the old guy, Matthias, just we couldn't sign up because he forgot or something. He had the plex, but he didn't first redeem them, and yeah, it was a bit of a shit show. Nothing happened. We didn't sign up, and everyone was mad, but it was fine. Not too many tears were shed.
Cool. It's really interesting to me. Like, obviously, you've got a lot of guys in your alliance who are genuine noobs who just sign up to EVE and see, oh, that alliance looks like it's going to accommodate me, because of the name. But you're not exclusively newbies anymore, really, are you? Kind of grown up a little bit, so
No.
You should have the skill points for some of the more challenging stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of new players, and we will always accommodate new players. But like, I mean, we are a 2-year-old alliance, and we do have hundreds and maybe even thousands of players who can basically fly everything. So for sure, I think if we manage to sign up this year, we'll have a good showing.
Cool. What did you think of the matches today? Got any?
Yeah, I thought they were really interesting, but it was a bit of a shame from Test. I think in the last game they kind of went with the wrong decision for their comp. I mean, they were faced with 3 out of 4 lineups that could basically annihilate any frigates that they decided to field. and they had one comp which didn't have support frigates, which I think they should have run rather than going for, you know, the 2 frigate Logi or whatever they had, or the Kestrels which they fielded. And in the previous game before that, they just made an error with the way that they flew, and it cost them the game. It was a risky play with the MJD, but I mean, they could have pulled it off. It just didn't go so well.
Definitely, yeah.
So we are just looking into, guys, to see if TEST and Tuskers would be willing to play out the last 2 matches of the tournament. So while Bay is talking to Blue, we're just going to see if we can get that works for you guys.
I think it's going to be a little bit too challenging, unfortunately. I think we've moved everyone away from the spectator system, so I don't think we'll do that next time. Maybe we will next time. But yeah, I think unfortunately we're done for today.
So let's just get the views of the players and analysts over the whole series. So Chester, what did you think of that last match?
You know, again, that last match right there, I just think goes to show TEST coming in with just not the same level of execution or maybe theory correcting skill that Tuskers has shown again and again and again during these fights. You know, I was doing the ship scanner on the Kestrels and the Tall Wars, and I just was really confused with some of the mids that I was seeing there. And then just thirdly, just kind of wrapping it all up, the piloting that I was seeing from their support side, the TEST support side, you know, in those 2 Kestrels and the Tall War were not as good as they could have been. You know, I saw a Kestrel 17k away from a Heretic, and I'm not sure why that happens. But that's a dead Kestrel really quickly. And overall, you know, I think Tuskers played it flawlessly. You know, they really, really executed all of their comps well. And I think that they showed what a double T3D and a command ship setups can really, really do. So overall, I think I have to hand this one to Tuskers. They played very, very well. I think TEST needs to step their game up for next time.
Yeah, definitely. Not a single ship lost, obviously, in the 3-0 victory on the Tuskers side. Definitely use of tech-free destroyers there by the Tuskers as well. Do you think there's anything they could have done differently, Suetonia, to shake things up or to take the series?
I think a lot of it was down to execution. I think TEST definitely could have won those games, but there were just too many bad piloting decisions, I think, in some of the matches. And I just think, consequently, I think Tuskers just made all the right calls in all the matches. They're shooting drones on the Augur, and they just defanged those rattlesnakes, and they were useless for the rest of the match.
Yeah, definitely. Steve, what did you think of the comps when you first saw them? Did you think TEST had a good chance?
No, I did not. I think the Tuskers won this one straight up, mostly also based from their comps. Like, their comps were so much more solid. Their comps, you could look at the comps and see that they had they thought out everything. They had something to deal with. Anti-tackle, they had something to deal with, you know, logistics and all that. And they all had, they were very well balanced as opposed to the TEST ones, which some looked very kitey, some looked like a combination of kitey and brawly, some looked like a combination of rush and, you know, tinker. And it was just like, what's going on here, TEST? Come on.
All right then. So again, being nil to Tuskers, not a single ship lost. 9 is E-honor points for TEST, I guess, for, you know, not bringing a good showing.
They brought a good showing.
So essentially, I think you're done for this evening, guys. Bay, do you have any last words?
We've got Sully joining us on comms in a minute.
All right then, fantastic. We were just talking to you in the previous segment, Nash, about Event T. Can you go into that again?
Yes.
I do believe you've got a ticket to give away as well, is that right?
We do have a ticket to give away. I've not really thought about how to give away these tickets and some of the other prizes that we've got coming in over the next couple of months, but I've linked earlier the Event T Facebook site, so just if anybody can pop onto the Facebook page, give a big fat like, and X up on the wall, and first person to X up there, and just Facebook mail me your in-game name. I'll send you a ticket.
Fantastic. Well, you heard the man, guys. Like the Facebook page, post on the Facebook wall, and we'll definitely sort you out with a ticket to EVNT. Fantastic tournament there last time. I believe the winners walked away with £200 or £300 from our great sponsors there, Mash, of computer equipment.
Yeah. So last time we had masses of support from Tronics,
User was moved to your channel.
who also provided some of the gaming computers that we used for the tournament itself. We had support from Chill Blast, who gave us some prizes to give away, so some gear, keyboards, and stuff like that. And also they provided 2 of the tournament PCs. And then we had masses of support from Cooler Master as well, who gave probably the majority of the prizes. So I think in total, including 100 Plex, 100 beers, which came from EveBet, some of the gear that we gave away, the raffles which we did for charity, I think we gave away over $3,000 worth of stuff. So it's definitely worth popping in and participating in the tournament. I think you had just enough people joining last time, and I would imagine it will be considerably more popular this time around. I think quite a lot of people were maybe a little bit apprehensive about doing the tournament, and we had exactly 62 people, which is the number that we needed. So yeah, this time, now that people have seen it and know what they can win, it's going to be lucky dip. People will be people's names will be drawn out of the hat for those that want to participate, and we get to do it all over again.
Yeah, the random teams were so much fun last time, and they got you paired with someone you wouldn't have normally talked to, or from a party that perhaps that you haven't had much experience with. So it's definitely very interesting there. So we're currently being joined on comms by Solomon Shua, who's the captain of the Tuskers. What were your thoughts on the whole series, Sully? And how was it?
I thought it was really fun. I think the variety of comps were. I think there was a large variety of comps between both teams. So I think it was quite a good series. I think it was closer than actually looked on the screen. We weren't sure we could take a couple of the matches before we got into them, but it worked out quite well, I think.
Yep, definitely a very interesting series. Field test, and in what ways was the series closer? Because it looked very one-sided from where we were looking at.
I think it was like small things here and there. Like in the first match, our Claymore comp versus their Sleipnir comp, if they didn't seem to pay much attention to us effectively splitting up their Sleipnirs, so we separated and isolated them, and then killed our support with our spare Civicul effectively. So if that hadn't happened, then it would have been a lot different. Also, I think our Logi part. The one I was shooting at the entire time, and he was like jammed for like 2 minutes or something, because he never shot me for a while. So like that damage never really got applied.
We don't like your ECM drones. You're right about that.
Yes, we're also joined Agent Hawk, who is the test team captain. So that series obviously didn't go as well as you thought on Agent Hawk. What went wrong?
Sorry, say that again. I had Mumble open still.
So that series obviously didn't go to plan for you, Agent Hawk. You're the test team captain. What went wrong?
Well, a lot of things went wrong. I guess you can say it that way, but I think mainly it was just a little execution error, a little bit of piloting here and there. You guys, I said it a bunch of times when we saw your Tuskers comps a lot. All of them were very well rounded. And I'm sure you guys have a lot of max SP dudes in there, and it was just a little bit hard to fight against,
I thought you did really well. I thought
especially since you had like a lot of drone teams.
Yeah, that was surprised me actually. Like with the T1 drones rule only, I'd surprised how many drone teams there were on both sides. Really, I guess they're still really strong because of the UR immunity and everything. So that's why they featured. But I thought you guys did really well. I thought. There wasn't any like, oh my god, I can't believe that pilot made a mistake. So like, as a whole, I thought it was okay. Yeah, I thought both teams did great. Thanks for coming on.
So we're just going to open the floor to both team captains, guys. Do any of the commentator or the analysis team want to ask some questions? Chesser, Fisty, Tony?
So I'd like to ask the test team captain, why did you guys not bring that many logistics ships on your comps?
It's a pretty good question. Our only comps had Frigology, and we didn't even use all of them even. But it's a very good question. Can't really tell you why we didn't. We just pretty confident with what we did, or what we had on the table, I guess. In terms of kiting, and we are just thinking we could win the damp war, but we pretty much never did almost. So
Damp's too strong.
we just thought we could punch through with pure DPS and stuff offensively.
So you guys just went for like a force approach, whereas Tuskers were a little bit more finesse. Is that accurate?
Pretty much. A lot of our reasoning, especially behind these 5v5 comps, is generally teams that are low DPS. So we try to bring a little bit higher DPS so we can just punch through things quickly and trade faster. It's all about trading. So you just get trades faster, and then they can, you're on top pretty much after that. And unfortunately, that also makes T2 logistics super strong, which we didn't ban those out. We had our other reasons for banning the other comps, mainly ASBs, and for fear that you'll just win trading that way. But you're right. We didn't incorporate T2 Logi or even T1 Logi very well in our comps.
Do you have any questions to the team captains, Chester?
Yeah.
Why... Oh, go ahead, sir. Well, I was gonna ask why you banned the Vindy comp.
So we didn't really practice any of the comps we flew at all. But I did on Friday night. I did like a 7 versus 7 grid effectively of all our comps versus all your comps in the possible matchups. So that's 49 matchups, and sort of graded them on where I think the outcome would be. So like, and so got some numbers in there and did like a quantitative analysis, and the Vindy comp came out quite strongly because it was quite well balanced. I think it was one of those comps that there was no discernible weak spot really. So we just banned it because it seemed particularly strong.
Okay.
I can't remember the other comp we banned. I think it was the Gila comp. I think your
yeah, that was a pure kite.
Yeah, that
pure
was
drone, pure kite.
What's that?
That Gila comp looked pretty crazy. So much damage from 5 shifts.
Yeah. So there's one of the same things, where, like where you were saying, like our comps were all finesse, and it all had logistics, which when the enemy team can headshot or kill your logistics pretty effectively, which that comp could quite easily do, then most of our comps just fall apart. So that was a very strong sort of counter comp. I mean, it wasn't made in, but I mean, it was a very strong comp against our variety of comps. So that was the reason we banned that one.
I think the Gila one definitely would have had the damage to push through Logi reps. I think so. I can see why you banned that one.
Even T2, yeah. I mean, even with the T1 drones, it's still a lot of DPS. It's only minus about 200, 250 DPS for the Gilas at least. Going from AUG to T1.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very scary team, especially since we had a lot of Tech 1 Logi and Tech Logi frigate comps, which could almost get insta-volleyed by that, I know, 2000 DPS in drones or something, ish.
Cool. Yeah, unfortunately though, almost sort of glad you banned that, in a sense that we were having a lot of assign issues with our drones on the Sissy server, especially yesterday. We were doing practice with our normal practice for the AT, but we were doing 5v5s in-house, and we were just having our drones go all over the place and just not even being assigned to the right person. Like for instance, I assigned our worms assigned to Joshua, and he was going to attack. Just go straight for your Logi, it's probably the most logical thing to do, but they were going after your Mollis, which I'm like, why are they doing that? Like, it's just a little bit crazy that way. I'm not trying to make excuses, obviously, but it's a little bit crazy.
Yeah, Sissy's not perfectly stable, but I think today it was reasonable. I didn't see anything.
Oh yeah, there's no module lag or anything.
Yeah, it was really smooth.
On that note, that kind of leads me in quite nicely to explain why this one was a little bit delayed. We were planning on doing this 2 weeks ago, but CCP deployed a brain in the box patch on CC, which broke a lot of things. Bob did some testing, and the teams did some testing, and a lot of things weren't looking at implants and links and all this sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's the tool we've got to work with. So we're making the best of it, but it's not perfect. Obviously, it'd be lovely if it was on TQ, but it's not quite. So,
if only it was on TQ.
Yeah, thanks team captains for joining us to have a little chat there. I'm gonna just give out the last question now. So this question is for winning one of the limited edition Quaif Tristan shipskins. I believe were given out for FanFest tickets, were they? Is that right? Can anyone confirm that?
Yes.
Cool. So the question is, what is the exact name of Chasseurs' first slicer video? What was the exact name of Chasseurs' first slicer video? It's again a little bit tricky. The first 8 people to answer in the event was #Eve_NT Collides channel on TQ will win themselves a shipskin. I think that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you very much for everyone who's taken part. Bob Shaftos for hosting with me and leading the chat while I scrabble around in the back end sorting out technical issues, which are certainly challenging. CCP Logico, thank you very much for coming on, moving us around and having a chat with us. It's been great. And I won't list everyone because I'll go on forever, but all the commentators and Blue for coming on, and certainly the team captains and the competitors that have taken part. Hopefully we can do more of these. The next one will be on the first Sunday of June, which is June the 7th in 3 weeks' time. If you're interested in taking part, drop me an email. I've got a couple of teams that are interested, so I'll announce who's going to be fighting soon. Thank you very much for coming, guys. Any last comments from the people in the room?
I'd just like to say thanks to the teams again. Thanks to CCP Logic Bro. They're great help, man. Thanks a lot for the constant communication. And yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
I'd like to thank you for, it's nice to see player run tournaments come back again. Just putting that out there.
Cool. Yeah, it was really well organised.
Cool. Could have been a little bit better. There's a lot of technical challenges. I think I need to have someone doing all the streaming for me while I can chat over the top, because doing all that's tricky. But cool, thanks very much, guys. Killing the stream here, and tune in next time. It will be up on YouTube shortly. Cheers.